Hey everyone, welcome to another update on all things stimulus packages. Today we're talking all about the Getting America Back to Work Act. I'm Logan.
Let's get back to work. I'm Edin.
So the Getting America Back to Work Act, Edin, what is involved with this proposal?
Yeah, so at a very high level, what it does is it again incentivizes businesses to hire people, to keep them, and to rehire those that they had to lay off. And it provides a payroll tax credit. So essentially decreases the amount of taxes that companies have to pay on payroll in order to be able to use those savings to pay those employees. And in essence, essentially, it just decreases the cost of having employees.
So how much of an impact would this really have on a business? I mean, how much is the average business paying, let's say percentage-wise, in payroll, and then you take 80% off? I mean, is that enough to really move the needle, or is this just like a sweet little icing on the cake?
Yeah, I mean, it's all relative, right? So if you have a part-time employee who makes 10 grand a year, this isn't going to do much for you. But if you have 50, 100, a couple hundred employees, it's going to mean tens of thousands of dollars, potentially millions of dollars in savings. And now again, is it going to filter all the way back through in terms of hiring people? We don't know. But to me, this one seems very similar to what we've already gotten in PPP, in employee retention credit, partially Family First Corona Response Act. So there's variations of this already out there. It's just an extension to allow folks to remain hired, to be rehired, to remain on payroll. And you had asked about the percentage. On average, it's about 8.5% to 10%, depending on which industry you're in.
So let's say your average, let's just go for like a larger company, right? Let's just say your average monthly payroll is $100,000, right? So then you have, let's say, just to make math easy again, 10%. So that's 10 grand a month is what you're looking at. So you take 80% away, you save on that. So now you're really saving 8 grand a month.
Correct.
So to you, a business that's, having to do 100 grand a month in payroll, does 8 grand help enough for them to go, you know what, let's get back to work?
Again, that's the magic question here. Is it enough? Probably not, but it depends on which industry you're in and how you can reallocate that money. So that, 8 grand a month times 12 is $96,000. So yes, that could be 1, 2, 3 people's salaries for the whole year, right? So it could move the needle. Will it move it enough? Unlikely. And then the question always becomes, is it the best for both the company and the employee? How much do we care about that? Do we have health insurance, 401ks that we got to pay for? So it's great in theory. It's more complicated. And then the piece that we're not talking about with a lot of these is the money that it's coming from. So the taxes that these companies are paying for is monies that go into our Social Security and Medicare trust funds, which if you've ever looked into Social Security and Medicare trust funds in the last 5-10 years, the constant topic is we're running low and eventually we're going to run out. So now we're talking about taking more money out of there, which has a lot more implications.
So it's trying to save the now while potentially sacrificing the future.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a cynic, and I don't know if it's taken away from the future. That boat to me has already left the harbor for younger folks like you and me.
Yeah,
we're never going to see that. So it's a question of how close or far you are from collecting, and how does this really impact you? And then, of course, from a personal finance perspective, should you have been saving? Do you have money saved up? Which is a deeper conversation beyond what we're talking about here with this act.
So this act really is more towards businesses because all it's doing is helping a business owner save money, but hopefully in turn that means that they're potentially able to hire some of their workforce back because they're saving, 80% of their payroll taxes.
Correct. And then the question's really going to be at some point, do they extend this, right? And open it up? Do they now go from it's just for the companies, or do we also do it for the employees? Because a big chunk of everybody's paycheck goes towards Social Security and Medicare. And back in after 08, 09, as we were coming out of that recession, they did a similar thing where they decreased how much every person had to pay in. And so everybody's paycheck went up for, I think it was for a year, it might have been for 2 years, where you had a lower tax on Social Security and Medicare. And people swore that they felt it, that they had more money in their pockets. So I think for something like this to actually pass, they're going to want it to be both ways and have it be for both the companies and the employees.
So you think that this may just be like a preliminary where it's just going for the companies, but eventually it may go to both?
I think it's going to have to. You're going to get so much backlash about all these tax incentives we're throwing at companies because ultimately it's coming out of one big pot of the United States Treasury.
Right.
And you ultimately want a lot of that money to also go to the employees so that they can keep paying their rents, keep paying their mortgages, keep shopping, right? So we got to keep buying stuff. So yeah, I definitely think it's going to have to be on both sides.
All right, cool. So that is your Getting America Back to Work Act.